Like, here, scan the QR code so you can go and look at, like, so you can look at fucking all this other shit. Now, here's the major reason. Here's the major difference, though. There's supposed to be some level of, I assume, I've never been on Fansly. I've also never been on OnlyFans, contrary to popular opinion, despite my advocacy for sex work and sex workers in general. I would suspect that there's some level of paywall or something that stops you from, enjoying. Why is everybody capping? I talk about literally jerking off to Overwatch porn. Why would I lie about this? Do you think there's something that I have to hide with respect to consuming OnlyFans and Fansly content? Like, this is what I don't understand. Like, why would I lie about that? I tell you what I look at. I think that when you have a Super Bowl ad that's for Bud Light, right? There's a level of control there. Obviously, it's even harder to go and acquire alcoholic beverages, right? Because you have to go to a liquor store. There's way more regulation to accessing alcohol than there is to accessing pornographic material on the internet. Okay? You are literally subscribed to my OnlyFans. I think you are being duped by someone. But one level of regulation, at least back in the day when there was alcohol promotion, is they are supposed to look at your demographics. They're supposed to look at your demographics and look at the percentage of your demographics that's over the age of 18, or for alcohol in the United States of America, over the age of 21. So what they're supposed to do in that regard is at least do their due diligence and not work with content creators who have an audience that has, I don't remember what the exact percentage is, but they're not supposed to work with audiences that have a percentage that is like, overwhelmingly under 18. You know what I mean? I think that is what should happen for companies like Fansly or OnlyFans or other pornographic companies that are doing ads. Do I have an issue with a porn sponsorship, a porn company sponsorship? No, I don't. Do I think that porn is corrupting the minds of the youth? No, I don't. I have talked about pornography as long as it is done by consenting adults. Okay? There is no issue with that. I mean, yeah, the fucking 3% of the audience was under the age of 13. That's, yeah. Okay, there you go. Exactly. Isn't this community loves decision mostly 20 to 24 now? 2018 was a long time ago. Yeah, 3% of the audience is under the age of 18. 3%. That's there you go. That's it. That makes the most sense. No one is putting their age below 18 when creating an account. I guess that could be true, but there's no real way of getting around that beyond it. You're fucking delusional if you say porn doesn't fuck your brain up. I cannot speak on what unfettered access will do to developing minds. What unfettered access to internet pornography will do to young minds, I don't know. It probably isn't good, though. I agree. I don't think porn fucks your brain up, though. No, I don't. That's a ridiculous generalization. And More so probably a self-report. Having said that, however, I think having unfettered access to internet pornography, especially at ages that are like super young, the moment that you have a phone in your hand, that's can't be healthy. I don't think that that's healthy. I will admit to that. Because like, I wish I had more access to porn when I was younger, right? When I was growing up. But I don't know what those consequences might have been. But I'm being overly sensitive and overly fair here, like way more charitable than others would be. However, access to any kind of content that is completely unfettered as a young adult with a developing mind is going to be bad. Literally, like anything. I would go so far as to say even video games, TikTok, social media in general, and numerous other points of consumption will break the brains of young adults and developing brains in general, for sure. I'm only like a year or two older than you, but I had to jack off the Wild Things too. Like all my friends are wait for a 90-minute download on Kazaa Lite, then immediately delete it after. Yeah, I mean, I'm old enough that I've downloaded a significant amount of malware into the fucking family computer thinking that I'm getting pornography on the internet from like Aries or LimeWire. You know what I mean? Like back in my day, we used to walk uphill both ways to school type shit. But like literally, it was really, really hard. And that was when it got easier. Pre-LimeWire, it was like you had to find it. You know what I mean? One of the homies in your class had access to like some pornographic material. Bro, I went analog. I fucking jerked off to like Denise Richards on what was it like? It was like a nude spread of Denise Richards on FHM or something. So that's not like you will not understand that, okay? My most classic jack off to the sex scenes in W.B. Griffin World War II novels. What the fuck? That's insane. Bro, when you have to save that one photo on the floppy disk? No, I never did floppy disk. So I don't have the answers to that. I don't. I'm being super super clear and super honest with you. I actually don't know. I don't know what the consequences are. And I don't know what the answers to it are. Like I don't know how to regulate it beyond ensuring that like if you have any kind of pornographic material that you are selling, that your audience should be above the age of 18. Obviously, there's always going to be people under age of 18 that are watching regardless. But I mean, like, look at the audience demographics and ensure that it's at least over like 75 to 80%. You know what I mean? Because it's impossible for it not to be. Kind of like thinking that the 18 plus link that you click on for adult content is not clickable by people who are younger. Of course it is. Thoughts on only being able to access porn sites if you prove you're over 18 somehow? I think that's also kind of wild. I know that that's the direction that we're going towards. But like I don't know if you want to upload your fucking license to a goddamn website. You know what I mean? That's what you do in Louisiana now. If you want to access porn, I think in the state of Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken, you literally have to upload a photo ID. Like, I don't feel safe or comfortable doing that. Anyway, so I don't know if that's a good solution either, but let's get back to this.
She's honest there. She said she didn't look at these ads before they're played, which sometimes that's how sponsors operate. But me watching them, I'm like, oh, okay, so chess boxing was presented by FanDuel, title sponsor, literally in the title itself. I had a whole dramatic reveal.
What's going on in the middle of the ring?
Look up. Because we have the FanDuel Sky table.
Holy smokes!
I mean, you can't get more dramatic. Look at me.
This table.
I think it's also because it's cutie. You know, she's controversial. She's a woman. So, like, that's part of the reason. Germa has probably been sponsored by FanDuel as well. I have never been sponsored by FanDuel. I don't have an issue with FanDuel or OnlyFans or Pornhub, obviously. I've talked about this pretty openly. But I would suspect that the real reason is because, like, people care more about valid, like, targets that they consider easy to attack. XQC has been sponsored by fucking FanDuel. Yeah, right? XQC literally has been sponsored by FanDuel. Juice, the show that he did was sponsored by fucking FanDuel, no? Juiced. Executed a show and partnered with Ludwig that was sponsored, and he had no idea what the sponsor was or what it entailed.
We'll be where the magic happens, not just for Super Smash
Look at
Bros.
this!
I had people cheering for a goddamn table. And that's not where it's ended. I mean, obviously, Germa's used FanDuel before, which he was on the stage with me. FanDuel instant replay from his baseball event.
She just rips the cover off that ball.
And then in a show that I hosted with XQC Juiced, I got FanDuel as the sponsor. That was the main sponsor that we were able to secure. Originally, the sponsor that I used to use all the time, the one that would always be reliable for me, was Coinbase. Coinbase sponsored my Mogul Money. They were supposed to sponsor XQC's Juiced, and XQC signed off on that. He was like, yeah, I love Coinbase. And then everybody was like, crypto's way too cringe. And Coinbase let go a lot of people, and they were struggling, so stopped using them as a whole. But here's a point to talk about: what is okay and not okay to use as a sponsor. And the answer, kind of boring. It's what is aligned with your ethics and morals, what you personally think is okay. And that should be different for everybody. But there's generally like a guardrail, like you're at a bowling alley, but you keep hitting the gutter. So you get the guardrail of what is okay and not okay according to.
Porn is better than crypto? Oh, 100%. I think porn is better than crypto. Well, yeah, I will stand by that. I think porn is better than crypto. I think porn is better than gambling, definitely. Like, I don't have an issue with porn at all. I hope that came across as very clear. If we're going to talk about a separate side issue about, like, easily accessible pornographic material for young minds, and how much young people can access porn and how easily young people can access porn, I don't know what the impacts of that are, but I'm always an advocate for sexual education, and I do believe that it should not be left up to porn, which is just another type of artistic expression and consumption. I think it's, like, ridiculous. You don't learn how to fucking fly by watching Superman. You don't learn how to do math by watching movies. And you should not learn sex from porn. Porn is just a completely separate thing. Unfortunately, in a society where we do not have adequate sexual education, in a puritanical and otherwise patriarchal society, where a lot of these conversations are cast aside, not talked about, seen as a taboo, we do not have the adequate sexual education, so people do turn to porn and see it as, like, educational. Porn, on the other hand, and this is outside of the boundaries of heteronormativity, but porn, on the other hand, can sometimes be liberating for queer people with respect to learning about their identities and getting more comfortable within their own identities. This is a very commonly forgotten aspect of porn. And even then, it should not be left up to porn. It should be done through regular conversations, having open and frank conversations that parents should be encouraged to have with their children. And also on top of that, learning at schools. We do not have that reality right now as it stands, but that would be the systemic solution to any kind of additional complications that porn could possibly create. So that's it. But I do think that the concept of like porn sick, like these people are porn sick, these people have rotted their fucking brains. It's something that I see in Zoomers a lot. And I think that that is perhaps coming from the like I said, unfettered access, unrestricted access to pornographic materials from a very early age. And some people, unfortunately, do not know how to handle that. They do not know how to control themselves, and they do not know how to handle that, which is where regulation should come into play. Some form of regulation. Okay?
To like the public conscious. The way I determine it is the same way I just said it. It's what aligns with my ethics and morals. So it's kind of subjective. But I'll tell you before I jump into exactly what I'm cool with and not cool with about my ethos as a whole. Because when I switched over to YouTube, I made a specific mental switch that I would no longer get money directly from my viewers. And I put that in quotes because at the end of the day, I still only get money because of my viewers, but I get them from their views and their attention rather than their wallets directly. And before that, most of
I have a fucking counter to this. I think subscriptions are significantly better as a form of revenue generation. Not only is it more consistent, but it also leads to significantly more autonomy with respect to editorial control than relying on mega corporations to give you money. Here is one aspect where myself and Ludwig and even XQC, who I've talked to about this particular thing, actually are at a disagreement. Okay? I do not agree with that. I think that, I mean, it's great. For someone like Ludwig, for someone like XQC, that might be great. Okay? Ad revenue is pretty good. I would much rather maintain my editorial control and maintain my autonomy by getting subscription-based revenue. That's it. That has been my day one approach to this subject. Subs are why you shouldn't be in this drama. You don't take sponsor dollars. Yeah, that is part of it. I rarely ever do sponsorships. I oftentimes turn down massive budgets, massive sponsorship opportunities. I've talked about some of them recently, specifically one about poker. But yeah, I don't do it, but that doesn't mean that I don't have an. It doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion on the matter. You still do ads? Shut the fuck up, lol. Yes, I have a contract with Amazon. This is true. I have an exclusivity contract with Amazon because the platform that I primarily stream on is this one, Twitch. I have made this decision after thinking about it long and hard and considering that this is like the best platform for me right now in this particular moment to be on. That's it. You know, that's an entirely different conversation that we could be having, but this is not what we're talking about. What I mean by the sponsorships is not ads. Sponsorships is when you get a native advertising opportunity by directly talking to a brand, oftentimes conducted by a manager or some ad agency or maybe your agents. Okay? A lot of streamers do a combination of all three. They have subs, they run ads, and they have sponsors. XQC is a great example of this. He does all three. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with sponsorships, by the way. Let me just make sure that people understand. Let me be clear. There is nothing wrong with getting sponsorships, okay? That does not mean that there are certain sponsorships that I would consider to be not great or even outright unethical obviously, if British Petroleum was sponsoring streamers specifically to say that global warming is actually not an issue and you shouldn't worry about it, I would say that that is an unethical sponsorship. Okay? I think that that's not an ethical sponsorship. If you're doing a sponsorship for an unregulated crypto casino that is incredibly easy to access no matter what age you are, but very difficult to take money out of, I would say that that is an unethical sponsorship. Okay? Raytheon. Getting sponsored by Raytheon to promote their latest missiles would be an unethical sponsorship. Okay? So, that's hot take. Ubisoft is just as bad as British Petroleum. Yes, I do not agree with that take. I love that. That is a take that you could only arrive at if you are so permanently brain broken by just being I don't know, Haas. It's debatable. Okay. No. No, you're right. Ubisoft is worse. They ruined gaming, which is significantly worse than fucking British Petroleum ruining the planet. Anyway, let's continue.
Of my money came from subscribers or donations. But since I've switched over to YouTube, I changed all of my subscribers or memberships to $1. And I stopped all donations. They're all capped at $10. And I don't even get any of those dollars anyway. They go directly to my moderators. It just felt weird to me to receive dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of dollars from an individual when I know I'm doing very well because YouTube signed me a big old paycheck. Thank you, Susan. Please sign it again. That's the gist. So I would rather be getting like a few pennies for your views and for your attention from different sponsors, from YouTube ad rolls, than I would money from you directly. Does that make sense?
I would love to see what Ludwig's attitude towards subscription revenue will be if the new CEO of YouTube doesn't, re-up his contract. For the record, I personally think that they would be delusional not to re-up Ludwig's contract. I think he's fucking great. He's a catch. He is a brilliant content creator. I will never say this to his face. If you clip this and show this to him, I will deny it. I will say it's AI. Okay? He is a massive pickup for YouTube, and he is a brilliant content creator in the space, and I appreciate all the stuff that he does. Having said that, however, if he were to lose the fat YouTube contract he currently has that covers everything and then some, I suspect he would not have this exact same approach as it pertains to generating revenue from subscriptions. Why'd you give away your defense? What do you mean?
That was a switch I made, which, by the way, people I think are more and more making a decision that they don't like advertising. They don't like free stuff. Maybe they prefer a paid subscription service where you don't have to watch ads. That might be like a cultural shift, which I would just have to adapt to. So anyway, let's get to my ethics and morals of what I think is cool, what I think is not cool. Why did I take a fancy sponsorship? If you guys don't know, it's kind of a downturn right now. There's not a lot of people who are out and about trying to sponsor events, at least not as many as there were a year or 2 years ago. It has dried up a lot. So Fansly has been one of the more reliable sponsors to work with. And honestly, I've been talking to them about sponsoring more events later this year. So, I did say that I'm only guided by my ethics and morals. That was kind of a lie. I'm also guided by what the viewers would think is cool. For example, a sponsor wants you to look at their ad to maybe sign up for it. But if you guys all collectively decided, or the majority did, that the sponsor I'm using is super cringe, well, then it'd be a failure of a sponsorship. You guys would all shit on it. The sponsor would be upset. They wouldn't be happy with me. I wouldn't be happy because I'm not succeeding in creating a broadcast that's sustainable that I can do again in the future. So I would stop doing it. So there is another guiding principle, and that's all to say that your voice matters in this situation. If you're like, hey, Ludwig, Fancy's too far, or hey, Ludwig, I don't like when you did it with Coinbase, that'd be chill. In fact, that's part of why I stopped using Coinbase in the first place. Now, for me, maybe this is my European background. I care less about porn. I care less about nudity.
My European background. Oh my God, motherfucker, you grew up in New Hampshire, dog. It's your libertarian roots that is causing you not to care about porn. Yo, this yee ass motherfucker puts on a turtleneck, has his hair all coiffed, and he goes, maybe it's because of my European background. It's like maybe that is the reason. Who knows? I like the tete, retro tete. It's very nice. He said maybe it's because of my European background. Yes.
I don't have this in my mind. A group of kids.
But he's not wrong though. It is, Americans are insanely puritanical, and it's very odd. Like, it is, like, the rest of the world looks at it and goes, that is kind of weird. Okay, it's true. Like, anyway.
Kids who I'm concerned about saving, and that's how I decide every moral or ethical decision is what these group of kids that are imaginary would care about. We should stop gambling because of the kids. We shouldn't show anything that's adult content because of the kids. We shouldn't advertise alcohol. I shouldn't do drinking streams because of the kids. I don't give a fuck about the kids. I don't cater my content directly towards kids. I do a lot of gambling. I do a lot of drinking. I do a lot of swearing.
I for the record, I don't disagree with this. But this is very New Hampshire libertarian, by the way. Live free or die ass motherfucker talking about how he's European. Okay? Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with this. It's like the idea that, like, oh, it's like fucking, especially if you have content that is not supposed to be tailored towards children, then, like, the idea that, like, oh, dude, think about the children is fucking ridiculous.
Say that if you're a kid, I'm a channel that you should necessarily watch. I maybe this one because it's more drama, it's more straightforward. But my main channel, yeah, I get it to some debauchery. I used to take a poker sponsor. I only stopped because not my ethics and morals, but it would be too hard to argue against sponsored gambling, specifically for slots, and then still allow sponsored poker, which I view as different. That's a different line to me, which some people might call me crazy for.
I don't even think that's all that crazy either, for the record. Gambling is still gambling. But yes, poker is still poker. I would put in a totally different category.
The way I see it is sponsored gambling, like slots or blackjack, has a house edge. You are guaranteed to lose money. It is an inevitable fact. The longer you play, the more money you will lose. And sponsored gambling is a little weird because I'm getting paid by this sponsor to gamble money I normally would not gamble. And then I would occasionally get wins I would not get and celebrate them as if they are as legitimate as any other one.
Like, even blackjack, I would put at a different, as someone who gambles, okay? You guys know this. I like gambling. I'm very haram, okay? I personally like gambling. I personally like drinking. I do all of this stuff, right? As far as, like, what I have done throughout my experience, I've done a little bit of slots. Actually won a lot of fucking money, weirdly enough. Do not do it, obviously. More money than I have ever gambling in my lifetime fucking playing blackjack. But I would say that slots is the most on steroids. You're basically giving money to the fucking... You're basically giving money to the casino directly, versus blackjack, which is still you're giving money to the casino directly, even though there is more skill involved to a certain degree. To poker, where you're not giving money to the house, you're literally giving money to whoever the fuck is significantly better than you at poker. So yeah,
I think that's weird. I think all sponsored gambling should stop. Having said that, I've never been against gambling content as a whole. If you go back to any of the videos I made about gambling, I always said and sponsored gambling, not end gambling. I love poker. Poker is one of the main games I played in college. I allegedly ran an illegal online poker ring for a while. And so I took poker sponsorships because you're playing against another human. And oftentimes when I was sponsored, it's because the house takes a rake, so they get a little bit of money, but you can still be a very winning player if you have studied more. And of course, you have luck and variance on your side. Anyway, but that's kind of where my line is. I don't take a lot of sponsors for things that I'm against using. That's kind of where I make my line, right? It's like if I wouldn't play this gotcha game, then yeah, I probably shouldn't play it on stream for 2 hours because it's a little disingenuous. But sometimes I also break that too, right? I was sponsored by G Fuel for a while, but I was still drinking coffee every morning. Now I'm no longer sponsored by them because I think they're kind of a piece of shit company. But a lot of the streamers who are sponsored by G Fuel don't even drink that shit. It's way too much caffeine and taurine, and they just get a little cup of coffee in the morning, and then they pretend to drink G Fuel. Is that chill, right? What about people who are sponsored by...
I'm not even kidding. This is what I used when I was in Vegas. When I was in Vegas, when I was at the casino, I carry this in my wallet everywhere I go. The fact that this man thinks that I have it out for him is insane. I literally carry this everywhere I go. It's in my wallet every fucking day. Okay? And when I was playing slots for the first time in my entire fucking life, I would constantly put this and go, I'm going to get it twisted. And I would flip it to get it twisted. And I would place it on the button and I would hit it. Okay? I'm a very superstitious person. You guys know this. Turkish quality. I'm sorry. I'm a very superstitious person. I keep this with me at all times. Okay? And I literally believe that it brings me luck. I would smack this fucking thing on the button when I'm playing slots. So the idea that this dude thinks that I fucking despise him, thinks that like I hate him or I've had it out to get him from the jump is additionally hilarious. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay? Anyway, you're allowed to have one insane belief. Exactly. Which is that. That is my one insane belief. Hasan, train is down millions? Yes, but it helps me win millions. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's get back to this video. Ludwig looks very sad. I don't know what's going on.
Gotcha games. You know, do you think that's chill? What about VPN services that overhype their quality? What about free to download extensions that save you deals but might also sell your data? Is that chill to advertise? I think the reality is that everybody will draw the line right below what they do and then maybe admonish everything below that line as well. And everything above that line is okay with them and they have no problems with. But the power of the viewer is to change that line. So if you see a streamer or creator that you like, that you think is being a little too liberal with where they push their line, then you tell them to lift that line. You tell them to get a little more strict. Hey, I don't like it when you have Fansly as a sponsor. I don't like it when you have Coinbase. I don't like it when you have a VPN. That's all very legitimate things to feel as a viewer. And the feedback, I promise you, is always read. And whether it's acted on or not is to the judgment of the streamer. And I'm an open guy, so I'm down. I'm down for a conversation to figure out what's what. In my mind, an adult-oriented site doesn't bother me. I think it's fine. I think porn is chill and people can look at porn, and a site like Fansly where the creator directly profits off of it as opposed to all the shit that happens on the more conventional sites like Pornhub is a wholly good thing. And I don't generally mind doing it. I don't generally cater my content towards kids, and I don't consider the kids when I'm making my content. When I'm making a literal event that people are supposed to punch each other in the face, where half the time I'm getting drunk on stream or taking a gummy and playing Super Auto Pets, I'm not thinking about the kids. I'm not like, oh, should I be a good influence here? All I'm trying to do is be a good person in the world and make things that I find entertaining and I watch. That's it. So anyway,
yeah, I mean, I understand why he's saying that. I get that. I still am kind of unsure as to what the fuck's going on with respect to like the perceived hypocrisy. But the one thing that is the worst thing you can do on the internet, remember, is be perceived as a hypocrite. Okay? Hypocrisy only matters because it's vibes based. If people are uncharitable to you, they will say you're hypocritical. If they are charitable to you and like your content, they will overlook even if you are actually hypocritical. Ultimately, none of it matters. It's basically just a gotcha, okay? And that's it.
Fansly advertisements on Twitch. This is actually a war that I've been drafted into and tossed into the front lines, so I've been catching fire and getting called out, labeled a hypocrite, and morally flexible when it comes to things my friends do that I call others out for. So I kind of want to talk about this entire subject here because I feel that it's just a load of dirty barnacles to call me hypocritical when it comes to Fansly advertisements. So allow me to show you to your table and deliver your entree of drama that you've ordered. So, the situation in a nutshell. A couple weeks ago, there was the Streamer Awards that happened on Twitch. I was unable to attend them in person, so I received permission from QT Cinderella to watch party them. This was a massive event that QT Cinderella put together. And one of the advertisers for it, one of the sponsors, was Fansly. So during the stream, a Fansly advertisement popped up, and this was my reaction to it.
A free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and...
Bro, this shit is giving this particular sponsor so much more earned media, by the way. Okay. You missed it? Oh, here. This is where it is. Don't worry. Boop. Just kidding. Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyway. Yeah, this part of the fucking conversation is that like I think that this is definitely not a good ad, okay? You know, it's a little ridiculous that you're doing like a direct, like, go over there. Your favorite streamers are on there. I mean, everybody kind of knows, but at least like setting up one layer of like inconvenience is probably the right thing to do, you know, etiquette wise, because it is still a you know, platform that makes pornographic material. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's great. You know, good on these ladies for going out and making their own money on this. Do this while they're a whole ass primetime TV ads that mimic blowjobs and shove asses in your face. But yeah, I think the real inconsistency here is with Twitch. If you can't advertise your OnlyFans in your Twitch bio, then this ad is absolutely against the rules. Exactly. I think that, you know, people get mad at advertising putting your OnlyFans on your Twitch bio, but this is like, you know, this is pretty much the same thing.
And creators through the Fansly For You feature. Swipe and discover today.
A very tame giggle as if someone came up and playfully tickled me for a moment. And people were upset because I didn't start spitting and shitting, taking up arms about how disgusting it was that Fansly was being advertised.
You would agree, though, that we should be able to link our OnlyFans and Fansly, right? Well, people already use Linktree for it, and I think that is a very good compromise on the matter. Like, as long as you go to a separate place, like it's basically about like making it a little bit less accessible, right? It's not like a real fucking safeguard or anything like that. And I think that if there was to be regulation surrounding it, it would probably be over encompassing, and it would most likely be compromising as far as your own personal data or your own personal privacy, right? But at least like adding an additional click there makes it a little bit better. Exactly. Any layer of inconvenience makes a difference. What do I always say about guns? Any layer of inconvenience makes it less accessible. That's why the Veterans Affairs used to run ads on this fucking platform about suicidal veterans and how they should buy a gun lock. Okay? Because any layer of inconvenience makes you second guess yourself. Any layer of inconvenience makes a big difference. Okay?
On this broadcast here.
I'll watch the
Reason
ads,
being
hands
is
up.
because prior I had made a video talking about a couple of things. One of them was Aiden Ross when he showed porn to his audience. My statement was that Aiden Ross went on Pornhub in front of his audience, which a lot of them are kids on the younger side of things. So I said that was weird. That was a weird thing to do. So when I giggled during the Fansly segment, it was used as a smoking gun to call out and attack me for being a hypocrite. Because it's the same principle. Fansly was just shown on stream to an audience that undoubtedly had kids watching. How is that any different than Aiden Ross going on Pornhub? Charlie is a fucking hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross, but doesn't do it when it's his friend QT Cinderella. When I first heard this argument, I thought it was just a bunch of fish paste. I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people were trying to compare these two things. Going on an actual legitimate Pornhub out.
Yes, that is absolutely fucking insane. Okay? That is fucking insane. Making a comparison to Aiden Ross purposely and willingly fucking knowingly showing pornographic material on his stream literally is not only completely ridiculous, but maybe even possibly illegal. Okay? And we're not talking about like, oops, I clicked on a link and I saw horse cock. Okay? I'm not talking about some forcing shit. I was a big advocate for forcing not getting banned, especially not having a long-ass fucking ban when that happened. It's not like I am friends with Forsen or even have similar worldviews with him or anything like that. But I thought that it was a wild thing that he was banned for a month at the time. You can go back and find clips of me talking about it. I thought that it was fucking ridiculous. Okay? Clicking on a link and accidentally showing something is, again, very different than openly, knowingly, and deliberately turning on porn, okay, on your stream. I think there's a genuine concern of gamification of this kind of porn and also addictive nature of parasocial relationships that especially young minds are vulnerable to. In that way, I can see there being a similar ethical concern around this form of entertainment as we do apply to gambling. What you're describing is literally just Twitch streaming too, though. You understand that, right? Like, the ethics conversation doesn't go away. You're describing social media. The only issue you have with that is that it's porn on top of everything else. The issue you have, once again, in many respects, is around sex and the portrayal of sex and not all the other stuff that you added onto it, because all the other stuff that you added onto it is an issue that is almost universal. What's up, bro? Are you leaving? Where are you going? Akşam yemeği yiyelim hep beraber istiyorsan. Okay. All right. Have fun. All right.
Out of nowhere in front of your audience and just having porn, real porn being played versus an advertisement, which does lead to porn, but the advertisement itself has more clothes on than a lot of things that are already freely broadcast on Twitch that are easily accessible. I didn't think these two things deserve.
Not everyone watching wants to see porn on their gamer streams. A safe for work ad is way less offensive. What do you mean? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that there's also the consent conversation, because like you might not want to see that, you know what I mean? But I guess that's a little bit larger of a philosophical debate. My friend, I know, I am aware, I've been live this entire time. I know that Israel stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque. If you think that 9 hours in, I'm going to cover breaking news, okay, I'm going to let you know There's nothing I can do about it, and I will not be covering it until tomorrow. Okay? It's literally 9 hours into a stream, El Grumpion. Okay? Not all Fansly accounts are porn. I don't know why it all gets lumped in together. I mean, yeah, but it's like softcore for the most part. It's like OnlyFans. OnlyFans has non-pornographic material on it too, but it doesn't matter. Like the primary consumption for the website is mostly porn in many respects. The reason why Twitch is not considered a porn site is because it doesn't allow hardcore pornography or even softcore pornography. The most it will allow is, hot tub streams, which could be considered a form of sex work, but certainly nowhere near the same barrier of entry. That's because porn sites are regulated in an entirely different manner. And they should be regulated in an entirely different manner, for the record, because there are a lot of ethical issues that arise when you are hosting pornographic material on your website. Look no further than the complications that Pornhub got into when they let shit fucking slide for many, many years, despite the fact that sex workers, porn stars themselves, routinely demanded Pornhub take action. Okay? They didn't do that until push came to shove and a bunch of fucking psychotic Christian zealots decided to take matters in their own goddamn hands. Because, of course, no matter what happens, Pornhub is run by MindGeek, run by a capitalist corporation that's not going to fucking do the right thing until it has to. Okay?
Deserve to be on the same playing field, but that's where I was wrong. I clearly failed the CAPTCHA here and was labeled a bot because a lot of people do view these in the same category, in the same wheelhouse. A YouTuber named MewKitty made a whole video on it talking about Twitch streamers and their hypocrisy, a video that I make an appearance in towards the end, and it's exactly what I just talked about, where I said it was weird when Aiden Ross pulled up Pornhub, but I laughed.
This is the schizo video, I suspect.
When Fansly was a sponsor.
I am here for some reason.
Of the Streamer Awards. And not long after her video, Scott Schaefer made content covering the same topic where, once again, the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 superstar Charles White comes into the frame once again with another banger cameo. And the argument is the same. Charlie called it out when Aiden Ross pulled up real porn, but didn't call it out when QT Cinderella advertised porn. And he did it because she's his friend, thus he is a hypocrite. And on stream I talked about this last night.
Yeah, this is Charlie's worst. I think this is Charlie's worst quality. You're so right about this, M. Hood. Charlie is addicted to saying the names of the biggest clout-hungry motherfuckers. I don't know why he does this. Perhaps it's because he hasn't really been shit on that aggressively as the foremost commentary channel on YouTube that has been able to ride the waves without getting harmed too much. But I genuinely don't understand why he will offer people who are very clearly rage bait, hate farming, a massive, perhaps the largest fucking content. It's odd. It is odd. I don't know why he does that. He likes to dunk on them. You can dunk on them without giving them any sort of credence or any sort of fucking clout. Let's be real. It's really, really, especially because to be fair, a lot of clout chasers aren't as unhinged as the type of ones we've dealt with that have aggressive communities that will latch on to any comment about them and harass you for multiple years. True. Certainly true. But I do think that it's because Charlie hasn't upset those communities yet. One day he might. And then when that happens, he will probably learn the hard way not to do that ever again.
And I'll go ahead and get this out of the way right away. during that stream and in the exact same video MewKitty has posted on one of her channels, I outright say both are bad. It's pretty clear from reading her comments, not like her personal comments, but like the audience comments, that the majority of the people didn't even watch the full statement. Which isn't her fault, and I even don't blame the audience, because right now, the human race is being plagued by brain rot, parasite, short-form content, which has ruined the attention span of people.
It's also the fact that he's platforming people without huge core communities. Their presence is on life support, and it's him. Yeah, I don't think he recognizes that he does that. But I think that, or maybe he, like, lends a helping hand so he knows that they won't fucking target him as much. Especially when, like, people do that shit when he's like, well, you know, I understand where you're coming from with this. I understand where you're coming from with this. Like, when you say that about someone who's like a clout-hungry content creator who knows that you have like an untarnished reputation regardless by all of the clout farmers or the hate farmers, they probably will think twice before attacking you next time. So I assume that there's a tactical advantage on that end too. Like, I don't think it's like, you know, I don't think it's you know, as naive. And for people saying like, just don't think he cares or all this shit, like, I don't, you know, I don't think so. I think he does. I think he's like doing it tactically. There was another point that I was going to make and I'm not remembering. Oh, someone said, aren't all content creators clout perverts? Okay. Yes, they are. Another thing I routinely talk about is that there are two different types of networking on the internet, positive networking and negative networking, okay? If you're going to think about it like clout or networking, one thing you can do is just like be an otherwise fun person to be around, be a social person, genuinely, you know, make content that people want to watch, make content that is like otherwise interesting, unique, different. Or there's the other route, which is farm hatred. Target communities with pre-existing hater audiences, specifically so you can develop an audience of your own off of the backs of the haters that hate the other much larger content creator. You could say that I do the same thing for Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder. There's obviously an additional reason. I ideologically am not aligned with the likes of Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder. This is part of the reason why I criticize them regularly, because I think that what they're doing is bad, what they're doing is immoral, what they're doing is wrong. One might make the same argument about myself, but they rarely ever talk about what that is on real terms, in the same way that I can describe to you what is really, truly so awful about Ben Shapiro. Does that make sense? I can tell you exactly what's wrong about Ben Shapiro's worldview. I can tell you that about most right-wingers. Many people, when they talk about how bad I am, they might even say, I agree with him. I just think his vibes are shitty. And then you look at their YouTube channel and they've made like 100 videos. And, you know, 25 of them are of me. And those are the only ones that have gotten the highest amount of views. And they're oftentimes very, very... What? Don't have sex with a male streamer. If you're a streamer, you will be screwed. Deflecting. Stop deflecting. You okay? Don't ban me. I don't even know what you're saying. The formula is the same, but the intention is different. There's a system in place to elevate drama, but why you get involved is important. Anyway. So, as I was stating, a lot of people basically tackle the issues that aren't really issues in most circumstances that large streamers or people who have been declared the main person on Twitter or, the main villain on internet by internet standards, specifically so they can ride the waves of the hate that person is receiving to elevate their own brand. That's fine. I don't think that is a successful way to build an audience for yourself, and plenty of people that do that are not doing a good job with it. There's a difference between you and CoffeeZilla. There's a difference between you and Danny Gonzalez. There's a difference between you and Cody Ko, even Ethan Klein, right? The people that you're picking and choosing to criticize and attack, you're not doing a good job with because you're just going after the flavor of the month. You do not have an ideological reason for going after them. You're just doing it because other people are going after them for one reason or the other. Does that make sense? Your reason for attacking Crowder and Shapiro is a good one, though. You point out their bullshit and educators commenting terrible shit. Yeah. And when Steven Crowder falls off or Steven Crowder does not have the same level of prominence, I stop talking about him. There are Nazis that I will refuse to talk about until it reaches a point where their platform is so elevated that I have to address it. The reason why I do that is because I care about who I am elevating. Does that make sense? Are we bashing on Charlie? No. I'm not bashing on Charlie. I am, however, criticizing him on this note. I don't like that he does this. And he does it all the time. And I think he does it for a specific reason. I think he does it so that those guys don't come after him and that he, they just don't give him the same headaches that they give to other people who they might have an ideological difference with. Charlie is a Nazi then? No, I never said that. You're being a fucking weirdo freak. Or at least a drama pervert and trying to get me to be clipped out of context. I don't believe that at all. What the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway.
So I don't necessarily find it shocking that they didn't watch all 10 minutes of what I was saying. But in that clip, I outright say both can be bad, but they are not the same to me. Thus, I disagree that it's hypocritical that I made statements about Aiden Ross and the porn thing being really weird, and I didn't make the exact same statements for QT Cinderella's Fansly sponsor. I'll go ahead and prove that it's there right now, real quick, before getting into why I think they're so different, but ultimately both are not a great thing to be advertising to an.
How are you calling out drama posters but spent forever on a big news day engaging with fake Fansly outrage? Maybe because I spent the first 8 hours and 30 minutes of this 9-hour broadcast covering the big news of the day and am now allocating the last 30 minutes of this broadcast to some drama that I guess I was involved in without even realizing, considering that this has like fucking 2.8 million views and I didn't even know about it. Do you think so? Do you think that's adequate, my lord? You give me $5 a month to avoid the top of the hour ad break. Obviously, you have all to say in what kind of content I create, right? What I choose to cover is up to you. I will do your bidding, my lord. I love having micromanagers who literally just give me $5 so they can avoid the ads at the top of the fucking hour. The ads are 3 minutes long. You can choose not to give me $5 and use different methods to avoid the ads at the top of the hour if you want. You can also maybe even luckily get gifted a sub. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
Audience that is undoubtedly going to have children watching. Of course, advertising Fansly, OnlyFans or anything in front of an audience that has younger children on it, it's always going to be not a great decision. It's one of those things, yeah. Now let's make like an egg and hard boil this subject real quick. So, the difference between Aiden Ross pulling up Pornhub and QT Cinderella bringing up a Fansly sponsor is very clear right off rip. If all of you in the classroom right now have your thinking caps on, you'll notice a huge difference. I was able to play the entire Fansly ad as it aired. because they are all clothed. You are not getting immediate nudity or pornographic content. It is an advertisement for pornographic content going to the website, yes, but unlike Aiden Ross's moment with real Pornhub just being there, actual fucking full-blown porn, you got pussy, tits, everything all right there immediately, that is not what you got with the QT Cinderella Fansly sponsorship. Thus, immediately, those two